Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, is former President Donald Trump immune from federal criminal prosecution? A three-judge panel weighs whether charges stemming from his efforts to overturn the 2020 election should be dismissed. And drug policy experts say the black market is booming right now. Chinese nationals are building billion-dollar operations growing marijuana. More about that coming up.
Plus, we are tracking some gusty winds, heavy rain, and snow showers on this first alert weather day. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Olivia Calfee. Gusty winds are hanging around and the chance of spotty snow showers loom in the area later tonight. Meteorologist Cameron Aaron is breaking it all down for us in our first alert weather day. Cameron?
Yeah, Olivia, we are tracking some gusty weather, also some soggy weather as we go into your Tuesday evening. Here's a look at first alert pinpoint Doppler, and we are tracking a heavier band of showers pushing into the Big Sandy Valley for Lawrence County, also Martin County, a first alert in Floyd County, also Pike County, as this heavier band of showers pushes through. Some heavier rainfall and some gusty winds with this feature there. Also some light showers in Letcher County, also into Harlan County and into portions of Southwest Virginia for Wise and Lee County as well. And some more light showers in the Cumberland Valley close to Interstate 75. Some light showers in Rockcastle County down into Laurel, also Whitley County at this hour. But again, we are tracking a flood advisory in place for Buchanan, also Dickinson County and Southwest Virginia, and that will last through 7:30 this evening. So some heavier showers are possible in some areas. As we go into this evening with the bigger story, we are tracking some very gusty winds, gusting to 38 in Jackson, up to 44 in Somerset, gusting to 28 over in London. So we could see winds up to 30, 40, possibly 50 miles per hour at times, and that is why we have a wind advisory in place through 8 a.m. on Wednesday. So we are tracking some more gusty winds this evening and possibly a few snowflakes as well. More details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Olivia?
Cameron, thank you. And we have seen a lot of rain and it has been very heavy at times, but it's not just Kentucky seeing the rain. Some parts of the eastern coast are experiencing a lot of wet weather, including in New Jersey. Governor Phil Murphy has issued a state of emergency for the entire state. Just a few weeks ago, cars and homes were flooded after storms hit. For some living there, though, it's just another day.
Well, it's going to be bad for power outages because the ground is wet. And then, if there's wind, it can knock down a tree. But people are used to it, so we'll manage.
In New York City, the city's Department of Emergency Management is warning of 2 to 3 inches of heavy rain, wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, and moderate coastal flooding. Flights have been affected by the weather as well. At last check, tracking site FlightAware claims nearly 1,000 flights have been canceled coming into, going out, or within the United States today. More than 5,500 have been delayed. At one point, the Federal Aviation Administration ordered a broad hold on Charlotte-bound flights due to thunderstorms. That had a ripple effect for travelers all across the country. Former President Donald Trump was in court again today trying to get the election interference case tossed, claiming presidential immunity. CBS's Skylar Henry has more details from Washington, D.C.
We think we had a very good day today.
Former President Donald Trump seemed to be feeling optimistic following a more than 1 hour-long hearing into whether he's immune from criminal prosecution for the events leading up to January 6th. Trump's attorneys are trying to make the case that presidents cannot be prosecuted for actions taken while they're in office.
If a president has to look over his shoulder or her shoulder every time he or she has to make a controversial decision and worry, after I leave office, am I going to jail for this? When my political opponents take power, that inevitably dampens the ability of the president.
His attorneys also say the only time a president can be prosecuted is if Congress first impeaches and convicts him or her, an assertion that the government called scary.
If, as I understood my friend on the other side to say here, a president orders his SEAL team to assassinate a political rival and resigns, for example, before an impeachment, not a criminal act.
The 3 appellate judges hearing the case seem to agree.
I think it's paradoxical to say that his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed allows him to violate criminal laws.
The D.C. Court of Appeals is not expected to issue its ruling today, though it may very well be a quick decision, as Trump's January 6th case is scheduled for early March, right in the middle of primary election season. Trump says the criminal cases are political attacks to keep him out of the White House.
I think it's very unfair when a political opponent, is prosecuted by the DOJ, by Biden's DOJ.
The case could eventually make it to the Supreme Court, but that may not happen until after this year's presidential election. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Trump is facing 4 separate criminal prosecutions, 2 federal and a state case in New York and another in Georgia, all while being the clear leader in the polls for the Republican presidential nomination. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is gaining steam in New Hampshire. A new CNN poll shows Haley has 32% of support from likely primary voters. She is still behind Donald Trump, who holds a meaningful lead at 39%, but support for Haley started rising last summer, especially among those who are ideologically moderate and those registered as undeclared. Last month, she also got an endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu. Judge Judy is endorsing Nikki Haley for president as well. The TV court legend said the Republican candidate is whip smart and has executive credentials as a former governor of South Carolina. And she said the former United Nations ambassador has international gravitas along with common sense. Haley said she's honored to have Judge Judy's support, calling her a no-nonsense lady. Judy Shinlin's Judge Judy show ran for 25 years. Lawmakers investigating Harvard University's handling of anti-Semitism are demanding the school turn over a mountain of documents. Today, the House Committee on Education and the Workforce sent a letter to Harvard leaders detailing the documents lawmakers are seeking. They want 24 categories of documents. That includes all reports of anti-Semitic incidents and related reports since January 1st, 2021, and documents on how Harvard responds to such incidents. Illegal marijuana farms are being run by Chinese nationals across the state of Maine. Many of them reported to police, and now licensed marijuana dispensary owners say they're furious, claiming nothing is being done. Gray Television Washington correspondent Ashanti Ford has more on how Chinese nationals made this a billion-dollar operation.
So it's legal to grow weed in the state of Maine. You can grow about 3 plants, but Border Patrol says Chinese nationals are growing marijuana on 270 different properties. They're making about $4 billion a year on it and then sending that money back to China. A growing problem that city leaders are now looking into.
I mean, what we're seeing in legal states is that the black market for marijuana continues to beat the legal market.
Mexican cartels have been the top dog of black market marijuana trade in the U.S., according to the Washington Post. But now Chinese nationals have quietly built a billion-dollar operation, showing up with suitcases full of cash to buy farmland in marijuana-friendly states, according to drug policy experts like Luke Neferratos, saying suburban homes are now being transformed into illegal grow houses.
I think there's a lot of concerns here as far as how states are regulating marijuana and how illegal cartels and other actors are taking advantage.
An advantage that marijuana dispensary owners say they don't have. Many of them pointing out the somewhat grueling process to get licensed to sell marijuana, even in the legal states. A frustration that attorney Jonathan Webb says is understandable.
Absolutely. I mean, these are individuals that went through the licensing process like anyone else. They're adhering to state laws. They are doing everything that they're supposed to do.
Senator Angus King of Maine acknowledging the issue.
It's a real concern, and our delegation here in Washington sent a letter to the Justice Department to ask them to look into this. Unfortunately, we haven't heard back.
And it isn't just marijuana that's a concern. Currently, there's legislation in the works that would actually limit Chinese nationals from owning farmland, period. In Washington, Ashanti Ford.
Ashanti reached out to the Department of Justice for more on what's being done about these massive illegal grow farms popping up all over the nation. They haven't responded yet, but she will continue to follow this story. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the average student loan debt of recent graduates is more than $33,000, according to the College Investor. Why opting for an in-state college might prove to be a better long-term decision.
Plus, a coating or dusting of snow cannot be ruled out later tonight, timing out those snow showers after this break.